The room was hushed, the soft glow of a single candle dancing against the walls as Rosanna Arquette sat alone, her gaze fixed on an old photograph. It showed her during her golden years, when Hollywood seemed to orbit around her name, when every red carpet shimmered in her honor. But in that quiet moment, she felt like a ghost in her own story. Once adored by millions, now she wrestled with an invisible ache, the feeling of being forgotten by the same world that had once celebrated her. It wasn't scandal or chaos that haunted her, but a deeper kind of heartbreak, the realization that fame can fade quietly, leaving behind only memories and echoes of applause. Rosanna's journey began far from the glitz of Los Angeles. In the heart of New York City, where she was born on August 10, 1959, into a family that practically breathed creativity. Her father, Louis Arquette, was an actor and writer. Her mother, Brenda, a poet and artist. Their home was a whirl of ideas and emotion, loud, loving, and boundless. Art wasn't just encouraged. It was a way of life. Among her siblings, Patricia, David, Richmond, and Alexis, Rosanna found herself both inspired and challenged. The Arquette family wasn't ordinary. They were dreamers, each destined to carve their own path in entertainment. But for Rosanna, the dream came with an ever-present shadow, the pressure to be seen, to matter, in a family where talent overflowed. Even as a child, Rosanna carried a rare sensitivity. She watched people deeply, noticed what others missed, and used those quiet observations to shape her imagination. Acting became her language, her refuge. She began performing in local plays, often drawing attention for her authenticity and expressive soul. But when she set her sights on Hollywood, the road ahead was anything but smooth. Casting agents dismissed her as too unconventional, too emotional, too hard to categorize. Yet Rosanna refused to bend. While others tried to fit the mold, she dared to be original. Her persistence paid off with The Executioner's Song in 1982, a performance so raw and honest that critics couldn't look away. But it was 1985's Desperately Seeking Susan that catapulted her into international fame. Acting alongside Madonna, Rosanna became the face of a generation, her free-spirited fashion sense turning into a cultural movement overnight. For a time, she was everywhere, magazine covers, premieres, interviews. But behind the glow of success, she felt a quiet dissonance. Hollywood wanted her as a type, the quirky love interest, the innocent muse. Yet she wanted more, to be seen not just as a pretty face, but as an artist with something real to say. Love, too, was a complex chapter in her story. Rosanna loved with her whole heart, fiercely, passionately, sometimes recklessly. She married several times, each relationship beginning with promise and ending in heartbreak. She once admitted she had a habit of loving too deeply, losing pieces of herself in the process. The tabloids loved to speculate, but they never grasped the truth, that Rosanna was not chasing fame or love for vanity's sake. She was searching for connection, for someone who could truly understand her. At her peak, she worked alongside some of cinema's most legendary directors. Martin Scorsese's After Hours showed her comedic timing and charm, while Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction reminded the world of her fearless versatility. She was a powerhouse, capable of inhabiting any world, any emotion. But as time passed, the scripts changed. Hollywood's cruel obsession with youth began to close its doors. The roles grew smaller, the calls less frequent, and in a town that thrives on the illusion of forever, Rosanna began to face the reality of being a woman aging in an industry that often refused to let women age at all. Yet she refused to disappear quietly. Long before Hollywood's reckoning with gender inequality, Rosanna spoke out about the treatment of women in film, the double standards, the silence, the exploitation. Her honesty made her both respected and controversial. Speaking the truth cost her work, friendships, and status, but she stood her ground. She'd seen too much, lived too much to keep quiet now. Some nights the loneliness crept in, and she wondered if her bravery had cost her everything. But deep inside, she knew that what she was fighting for was bigger than herself. In the early 2000s, Rosanna began a new chapter. She turned to directing, using her voice to tell the stories Hollywood ignored. Her documentary, Searching for Deborah Winger, was a raw, honest exploration of what happens to women in an industry obsessed with perfection and youth. It was both personal and political, a mirror held up to her own experience. Through her activism, she found renewal, dedicating herself to human rights, gender equality, and artistic freedom. The fire that once burned for fame now burned for truth. As she matured, Rosanna's perspective shifted. She no longer chased the spotlight. She embraced her place outside of it. She became a mentor, an advocate, a reminder that beauty and power evolve with time. And while the world saw her less on screen, those who looked closely saw a woman who had transformed pain into purpose. There were still photos, private, unseen glimpses of her laughing with friends, reflecting quietly, or standing before an audience with conviction in her eyes. These moments revealed the real Rosanna, resilient, reflective, radiant in her authenticity. Now, when the cameras capture her, it's not youth they find, but grace. She often says that the best role she ever played was herself, learning to love the woman who survived Hollywood's illusions and still stood tall. The image of her in that quiet, candlelit room takes on new meaning. That photograph she once held no longer represents what she lost. It's a testament to what she endured. Rosanna Arquette's story is one of courage, the courage to be real, to speak out, to evolve. Her journey reminds us that fame is fleeting, but truth lasts forever. Behind every perfect photo lies a human story, and hers is one of resilience, heart, and quiet revolution. If Rosanna's journey inspired you, if her strength reminds you that authenticity never goes out of style, then take a moment to keep her light alive. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories of courage, art, and the people who dared to be themselves in a world that tried to define them.